everyone, my name's Lizette and I'm with Marx Culinary, and this is my show, Lizette's Kitchen. And I am going to be sharing with you one of my favorite cake recipes from when I was in college. It's a very classic recipe. It's called an oatmeal cake. It's made with these wonderful oats that are kind of a whole rolled oat. And one of the reasons that I'm going to be sharing it with you today is because I am making this version gluten-free. It's not grain-free, although I do love to make cakes that way. But I want to share with you a grain-free one that doesn't have any milk in it. And ordinarily, these cakes do have that because that topping, which is this really wonderful toasted coconut praline topping, usually has milk in it. So we're going to omit that as well, and I'll show you how to do that step by step. So let's get into the kitchen. I'll show you how to make this fabulous cake that you can have for the season. Spring is a great time to have it. Maybe make it for Mother's Day, I don't know, or any old time. It's really quick and easy, and so I hope you enjoy it. See you soon. All right, so let's put some oats in a bowl and then add some boiling water into a heat-proof pitcher and pour it right in. And then give it a stir with a spoon or a spurtle. That's what I have here. It's a special oatmeal stirrer. You don't really need that, but I have one. Okay, now we're going to mix our dry ingredients. So add almond flour and sorghum flour. And I'm using blanched almond flour. Then whisk it together really nicely. And if you see, like there's these what I call pills here with the little clumps of flour, I just go in there with my hands and just try and mash up the big ones. And I do get a little obsessive about this, but you don't have to do that, but I like to. Then I take a little sieve and put cinnamon and nutmeg and baking powder. I'm sorry, that's baking soda and sea salt. And then you whisk that in. And if you have baking powder instead, it will work. It's just this recipe is baking soda. So now you whisk all of that into the flour mixture. And then if you're like me, you'll go in and, oh gosh, smash out those little clumps. But it looks pretty good. It's going to work. So now we set this aside, wash your hands, and now we're going to cream the butter in a stand mixer. That's what I'm using, but you could also use a handheld mixer. We're just going to start mixing the softened butter at kind of a medium-low speed here, just till break it up a little bit. And now I'm going to add some coconut sugar. We're adding about a cup of coconut sugar in here. It looks like more than a cup. I might have doubled this recipe. I think I did. But I have a recipe that says 1 cup. So you'll go with that one. So we just mix that up. And it's a little dry here. It's almost like it's going to be like a pie crust, but now we add the eggs. So 2 eggs go in. And if you feel pretty brave, you can just crack the egg right on the edge of the bowl and then just plop it in, or you can crack it in a small bowl and then pour them in. Either way is fine. I'm living on the edge. Alright, so now just let that mix together, and don't worry if the butter is still piecey. It's okay. It's all going to come together the more you mix it. And you just want kind of a medium-low speed. Don't go too fast. Don't get too crazy. And now we're going to add our flour mixture. And I'm just kind of spooning that in or just pushing it in with my spatula. And that's the weird thing about this, these type of mixers. I love this KitchenAid. It's wonderful, but it's kind of hard to just dump your flour in. Although that would be a bad idea because then the flour would go everywhere. So maybe that's why they designed it this way, so that you had to do it gradually, like I have to do right here. Okay, once all the flour's in, then we go to the next ingredient. And so the next ingredient here is, drum roll, maple syrup. So we're going to put maple syrup in here. And you see now it's starting to come together. It actually looks like a cake batter. Look at that. We're making a cake batter. Okay, I had to stop it for a second. Get ready for the next bit. Ah, yes. These are our beautiful oats. It's just plain old oats mixed with the water, and they get plopped in and now make this batter look incredibly unappetizing. But you know what? It's going to taste wonderful. It really is, trust me, even though it looks terrible. Trust the process, everyone. Okay. So now we're done mixing, and I'm just going to finish it off because sometimes with these mixers things get stuck on the bottom. Now we do this very ungraceful buttering of a dish. I know, for those of you who don't like to touch butter, get over it. Touch the butter. Okay, now my pan is nicely buttered and I pour the batter in. Looks better already. Looks like good cake batter. And it is a loose batter. It's not very thick. But don't worry about it because it's going to make a wonderful cake. We're going to get it all in there. Don't waste a drop. And I love this cake pan. So if you can get a nice ceramic cake pan like this, it's perfect for this type of cake because you do not have to take it out of the cake pan. Just leave it in. It looks beautiful the way it is. You'll see. All right, give it a shake because that's what you do. And then a little spread on top. This is a habit. You actually don't have to do this, but I do this when I make cake. And then place it in an oven. That's right, we're baking it, so you put it in an oven. That's right. And 350 degrees. That's what we do. Okay, so we're going to make our compote now. So with the compote, we need rhubarb, because this is a rhubarb compote. So I use 4 stalks. And then I'm going to dice them up. So I just make a strip down the center and then I just cut them into little dice. So these are kind of small dice, not tiny. This is big enough. Curl your fingers under on that guiding hand and just cut the rhubarb only. And then of course with lots of practice you'll get really fast like I am here because I'm just super fast at this process. So don't be intimidated. Don't try and do this at home. You know, just slow and steady is good. You don't have to be crazy, but I just need to get this done. So I have to kind of, you know, activate my superpower here and just go really fast. And even watching it really fast, I know you're probably going, when's she going to stop cutting rhubarb? But yeah, I got to keep cutting it, right? Here we go. A few more. But you see, the whole time, notice how safe I'm curling those fingers under, even though I'm wicked fast. Done. All right, so now we're going to take our rhubarb and put it in a cool pot. I mean, you don't have to have a cool pot. This is the coolest little vintage pot. I found this. It's Visions Cookware. I love it. It's great for filming because you can see what's happening. But you can use any pot. And then add water. That's a 1/4 cup. And then we add some maple syrup, another 1/4 cup. I like even measurements. And then we'll add about 3 tablespoons of Tawny Port. You could add 4 tablespoons, but I did 3. And then some sea salt. Just a pinch. And then we just stir that around. Just make sure everything's coated, but it'll eventually all be coated because the cooking process is where the magic happens. So once I get done doing this, because for some reason I keep doing it, I'm going to turn on the heat. Okay, I'm done. Now I'm turning on the heat and then I put the cover on. Isn't that cute? And we're going to let it cook. So we cook it covered and look at this. See? Isn't this a great pot? You can see boiling happening. Right here, it's happening. We don't often get to see that. So boiling is at 212 degrees, I believe. Okay, so now I've taken the pot off. This has been going on for maybe 10 minutes. And look at already, the rhubarb's broken down quite a bit. It's very liquidy, so I'm going to cook it and leave the top off. But before I do that, I'm going to add some berries. So we're going to cook the berries. And look how carefully I do this. And again, don't try this at home. It'll never go in that slowly. Alright, so now just stir that around. And then we're going to cook it with the cover off until the liquid reduces, because we want the liquid to evaporate. See, here's another angle. You can see the liquid is evaporating here, and then the compote's going to start to thicken. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to chop up some pecans for our praline topping. It's a pecan coconut praline topping. It's like the best thing in the world. So you just chop it up really fast, or just chop it up. And just make sure that the nuts don't go everywhere. And then, yeah, I gotta keep going. But just little pieces like this. So I just find the big ones and chop them up. And then we melt butter. So that's about 6 tablespoons of butter. And then we mix it up. So we add some unsweetened shredded coconut. Get the unsweetened kind. There's enough sweet in here. And then the pecans. So don't get the sweet stuff, just get unsweetened. Then we add the sweetener. That is coconut sugar. And then to that we're going to add full fat coconut milk, because why would you ever use the other kind? You don't want non-fat coconut milk. Full fat, good quality coconut milk. That makes this so delicious and sort of kind of healthy. And then we add vanilla. That was what the last thing that went in. And then you just sort of mash it all together, because it's kind of hard. You can't really stir this fast or else coconut shreds are going to fly all over the place. Now I'm going to add a pinch of salt, because when you do sweet like this, candy sweet, that little bit of salt it gets that sort of salted caramely feeling, flavor. It's delicious. And so once that's all together, I'm going to add my melted butter. So pour it in, get it all in there, and then stir it through. Make sure that all the butter is incorporated. That's a word we often use in recipe writing, incorporated. Okay. Oh, eat that piece that fell out because you don't want any of it to waste. And here comes the cake. It's all done. Yay. I think it's perfect. But I'm going to test it with my skewer. This is actually for kebabs, but it makes a perfect cake tester. Comes out clean. It's perfect. So now I'm going to spoon this praline top on the cake. And we'll do this carefully so that you don't break up the top of the cake, because, you know, it's delicate. So this is not like a rough process. You want to be careful here. And you want to make sure the entire top of the cake is coated with this coconut pecan praline. So just when you do it, just spoon it on top and then very lightly spread it across until every inch is covered. Alright, so there, that looks really nice. Almost done. One more bite. Oh, I think I wanted to eat that, but we're going to save it for the cake. Okay. Looking good. Okay, now we just broil this. So turn your oven to broil now and raise the rack. Raise the rack and then turn it to broil. That's the better order. And then broil it. And when in our oven, we don't close it all the way. So just make sure you operate the oven right. And while you're doing that, very quickly, let's finish up this compote. This doesn't take that long. So you just take a little bit of arrowroot powder or cassava flour. I'm using arrowroot, and we'll put it in a little bit of water. So a tablespoon of arrowroot to about 2 tablespoons of water, and then whisk it with a fork or a tiny whisk if you have one of those. And then pour it into the compote. And so this is going to kind of thicken it the right consistency for the fool, which we're making later. So remember, I told you we were going to make this whipped cream mixture called a fool, very popular in Ireland, and this is a compote part of it. So we just put that on low heat and let it just softly boil. Now the cake's ready. Got to keep an eye on that, so make sure your timer's on or you just know what's going on. Take it out, because if you leave it too long, it will turn black on top and not this beautiful color here, which is just perfectly toasted. Alright, so now we're going to make our fool. So you add the whipped cream, and I'm using about just a scant over a cup, and then start to whisk it. And you don't need to add any sweetener because there's a lot of flavors going on right now. So you want the whipped cream to just be whipped cream. Don't feel like you have to add sugar or vanilla. You don't need any of that stuff. Just whipped cream. And then get it to about soft peaks. And in a second here, you'll see this. Oh yeah, there they are. Isn't that beautiful? Like a cloud. So you don't want them too stiff. You don't want them to separate and turn into butter. You just want that texture right there. That's perfect for any kind of whipped cream on a dessert. So then we add the compote, and you just kind of eyeball it. I'm adding 2 spoonfuls, and then I fold it very gently. And then I think I need more, so I'm going to add a few more. And then fold that through. And you just want streaks of the compote through. And then we top it on top of a piece of cake. Getting ready to eat this. And then we add a little more compote because, well, why not? It's delicious. And there it is, guys. Well, this is the completed cake. Our oatmeal cake with this really nice crunchy, I call it the praline layer. This is the part that we broiled with the coconut and the pecans and the coconut milk and the palm sugar, and then topping it off with our fool. And I just added a little extra of the compote. And now I'm going to try it, and I can't wait. But before I do, let me remind you, if you want to see more of our videos, please subscribe. Jeff and I are here quite often sharing our recipes, our culinary techniques, and just all things good food and good health. See you soon. Bye.